standing back there watching all these guys talk. I don't see them looking at any notes. I guess they've done this before. No, I'm going to look at a few notes. Well, good morning, Columbus. It's great to be back home. You know, they say that the Midwest is the heart of America. Today, I believe all Ohioans have a chance to be the heartbeat of America. You have a voice, strong and a loud one, and on November 6th, you must be heard. If not, the cries over what has happened to our country and our state will be muted for another 4 years. Ohio has over 400,000 people unemployed and seeking work. Since that other guy took office, Obama took office, the number of people in Ohio receiving food stamps has increased by 40%. Not good. Under Obama, the median household income in Ohio has declined to its lowest level since the current population survey was established in 1984. How's your gas prices? They've only increased about $2 since he took office. Yep. And as of last month, Ohio had the nation's 7th highest foreclosure rate. You know, I know Governor Casey has worked extremely hard to combat all this and curb the job losses. But he's not only battling a recession, he's battling Washington and its politics. And that's for sure. Ohio has become a microcosm of what we have witnessed and suffered as a nation. I deeply believe in the American spirit. What hard work, commitment, dedication, and discipline can lead you to in life. I believe the greatness that lies within each of us and every one of you. Now, I played all sports growing up, and I love them all because I love to compete. I gravitated to golf because I didn't need someone to throw me the ball, catch it, or defend me. It was just me and the golf course and my abilities. I could be as good as the effort, time, and hard work that I put in. I always thought the greatest lesson I was ever taught by my longtime instructor, Jack Grout, was about knowing yourself. Understanding your golf game, and most important, believing in it, trusting in it, and having the confidence in yourself and your game. So when I was competing, I didn't lean on someone else in tough times. I knew I had to do on the golf, what I had to do on the golf course to succeed. And when I won, I certainly didn't apologize for my success. I think what defines America is our unshakable spirit and self-belief that we can do better.
Yes.
Governor Romney has spoke often about individuals who have worked hard to build businesses big and small, and thus built lives for themselves and their families. I have very strong family values. I believe in a good work ethic and put a great deal of faith in character. I attribute my upbringing to my parents who instilled in me a good value system. I know Governor Romney shares these values. My father's father worked on the railroad. He was a boilermaker. One day my grandfather took my dad and his 2 brothers down to where he worked. It was 135 to 140 degrees, and it was miserable. And he said, "Boys, I want you to see this because I never want you to have to do this. I want you to work hard and make a better life for yourself." So one of my uncles became a dentist, and my father and his other brother both became pharmacists. My father owned several drugstores right here in Columbus. This is the entrepreneurial spirit that has made America the greatest country in the world. Most Americans understand and respect that prosperity is a result of an economy based on creating wealth, not redistributing it. And not having to apologize for that success. I thought that's what we were all striving to do. Be successful at whatever we choose to do with our lives. History has shown us time and time again that individuals who truly care about helping the less fortunate and lifting millions of people out of poverty should favor an economy based on free enterprise rather than a government-centered economy. Like Mitt Romney, I was the son of a man who achieved the American dream. Early in my golf career, I followed my father's footsteps and built my own business. For more than 40 years, we worked extremely hard to build a relatively small family-owned business, just as my father did. I built the business on my own, not with the help of government, and I'm extremely proud of that, and even prouder of the people who helped me build it. What I'm not proud of is that, unfortunately, like many of you here today, and too many across our state and country, the economy under the Obama administration has taken its toll on us. Our company hasn't had the across-the-board salary increase in 4 years. And most employees have had their salaries reduced from 5 to 50%. Over the last 4 years, I've been forced to let go over 50% of my staff. These are not just people who worked for me for years. These are people who worked for me for decades. They have become an extension of our family, and when you lose family, it hurts. We can't afford 4 more years like the last 4 years. I know I sure can't. At the start of the 1970 season, I had gone almost 3 years without winning a major championship. I lived on talent, but I wasn't the golfer I could be. In February that year, my father passed away. As is common with many people who lose a loved one, I went through a lot of reflection, self-discovery, and I began to look at the person I was or wasn't. I certainly wasn't living up to what my father expected of me. It was my moment of recognition. I reinvented myself. I worked harder than I'd ever worked, and the result was some of the most successful years of my career. I believe in our country. I believe our country is at that point today. We can't keep doing what we've been doing. We have to look at the problems at hand and change them. The late John Wooden, one-time great UCLA basketball coach, once said, "If you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over?" In my business, I travel the world. And what I find is that the view of our country is not what we want it to be. They want us to be like the America we were, not what America that we have become. We need to change that direction and that perception. The man to lead that charge is Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan will usher in a real plan that will grow the economy and restore America to its position as the best place in the world to find a job, start a business, and hire a worker. America cannot afford 4 more years of Barack Obama's failed policies. We need a real recovery. My wife Barbara and I have been married for 52 years. Not bad for two Columbus folks, huh? Ann and Mitt have been married for 43 years. We have 5 children. They have 5 children. We have 22 grandchildren. They have 18 grandchildren. And I assume more to come. I've always put my family first in my life. Above golf, above business, above everything. And again, I want to put my family first, and you should too. Because this campaign is not about what's best for me. It's about what's best for my children and my grandchildren. Mitt and I care passionately about their future, and we are concerned about America and a life that will await them as adults if we don't get this country back on track. I've always said that the worst thing you can do on a golf course is to dwell on a bad shot, because it will affect your next swing. We're not too late to change recent history. Or we are too late to change recent history, we are. But we can write a better future for ourselves, for our children, and for their children. And begin by putting Mitt Romney in the White House. So I plead with you today to be there for our country on November 6th. Make sure you vote. Make sure your family votes. Make sure your friends vote. Make new friends and make sure they vote. President Obama's slogan has gone from yes we can to no I can't. So it's time for a new president, someone who's not afraid to say, yes I will. Yes, I will. I'm firmly convinced that Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan are not afraid to say, yes we can. And with conviction and sincerity, they can say, yes we will. Strive to help our country return to being the greatest country on earth. I'm so very proud to be sharing the stage with my friend, Mitt Romney. And I'm so very proud to say, God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the next President of the United States, Mitt Romney.
Nicklaus in just a second, but I want to begin with your hometown hero. It's good to have Governor John Kasich here and appreciate his endorsement. And of course, it's great to have Senator Ron Portman. You know, he debates me from time to time. He's playing Barack Obama at these mock debates we have. I don't like him very much anymore. He keeps on beating me up, and I keep on going away shaking my head. This guy's really something. You're lucky to have a guy so bright and so capable and so committed as your governor and as your senator. But what you heard from the Golden Bear, what you heard from the greatest athlete of the 20th century, the words that he spoke have touched my heart, and I'm sure they have touched your hearts as well. He was moving and powerful. He's not a politician. He spoke from his heart. And what he said was about our country. When he said this election was not about him, but about his kids and his grandkids, I knew just what he felt. That's what this campaign is all about. He also said, in those remarks of his, he said, you know, he learned that he had to know himself, learn himself, know himself. You heard that. I thought, as he said that, I never imagined for a moment that Time magazine might name me the greatest athlete of the 20th century. As a matter of fact, I didn't look at the Time magazine that week to see if I might have been named. I didn't have a great athletic career, and And so when actually we have in my family a competition among our 5 boys and me in the summertime. We call it the Romney Olympics, but it's hardly the Olympics. And we play various sports. I typically come in 6th out of the 6 of us. So when I took the job to run the Olympics, yeah, sit down, guys. And those of you with chairs, go ahead and sit down. Oh, look at that. That's a lot better, isn't it? When I got the job to help organize the Olympic Winter Games in 2002, I knew that it was a bit ironic for a guy with such little athletic ability as myself to be able to be responsible for the largest athletic event in the world. My boys also saw the irony in it. My oldest son called when it showed up in the paper. They already knew about that I'd taken the job, but my oldest son called and said, "Dad, I saw the paper this morning, and I've talked to the brothers. We want you to know there's not a circumstance we could have conceived of that would put you on the front page of the sports section." But there it was. So I know myself, and I know that the things that I've learned how to do are things that right now our country needs. I know how to work with people who have different views and persuasions and bring them together to solve tough problems. It's something I've been able to do in part because I first grew up in a home where I saw my dad and my mom do that, but particularly Dad. He ran a car company. I love cars. And growing up in Detroit, I watched him take a company that was in real trouble. Some of you remember Ramblers and Jeeps. This was American Motors. They made those products, yeah. And he helped turn the business around and make it successful. Then he went on to become the 3-term governor of his state and worked with Republicans and Democrats to make his state more successful and create jobs. So I watched him do that. Then I went into business myself. And for the 25 years or so I was in business, I learned a very simple lesson. You don't spend more money than you take in, or you go out of business. Asked to come out and help organize the Olympic Winter Games, and I took those same skills I'd learned at home and that I'd learned in business and went out to the Olympics and was able to work with other people and bring a community together that had been, in some respects, pulled apart by the scandal associated with the games before I happened to be brought in there. And so we had successful games, and then I was asked by a number of folks to come back and run for governor of my state, and decided that was an important thing to do. Was able to work. My legislature, by the way, was slightly Democrat in Massachusetts. It was 87% Democrat, actually. 13% Republicans. I realized I would get nothing done, unless I found a way to find some common ground with people across the aisle. We had different views on issues, but we shared some fundamental beliefs and principles. We wanted to help people. We loved our country. We wanted to improve our schools. We wanted to keep taxes down. Even Democrats in my state did. We wanted to keep taxes down because we didn't want jobs to leave. Because when you raise taxes, you kill employment. So we worked together because of those common elements, and we're able to get our state back on track in important ways. We got unemployment down to 4.7%. Wouldn't that be nice? We could have that. Myself well enough to know that I don't have all the ideas and all the best answers, that I need to work with other people and exchange ideas, and that when you do that, you can accomplish great things. Now we have a president who the other day says something quite revealing. He said he can't change Washington from the inside, only from the outside. Well, we're going to give him that chance to be on the outside. I see protesters now and then at an event of mine. It's been a little while, but there have been some protesters, and usually they chant 4 more years. And I scratch my head a bit when I hear that. Yeah. I mean, do we really want 4 more years with 23 million Americans struggling to find a good job? I mean, do we want 4 more years where half the kids coming out of college can't find work or college-level work? Do we want 4 more years where every single year the take-home pay goes down? Do we want 4 more years of trillion-dollar deficits? Yeah, I don't believe we can afford 4 more years like the last 4 years, and the reason I believe that after the debates and after the campaigns and after all the ads are over, the people of Ohio are going to say loud and clear on November 6th, we can't afford 4 more years, we must do better. This election comes down to a very dramatic choice, in my opinion. Oh, good. We had some 4 more years people who want to chat. Hi there. How you doing? This comes down to a very dramatic difference between 2 different courses for America. What are those courses? One of those courses is to have a nation which... But we don't want 4 more years like the last 4 years. This election, in my opinion, comes down to a very dramatic choice between 2 different courses for America. When it relates to the economy, the president's course is status quo. His slogan is forward. I think forewarned is a better term. If you watched or read his speech at the Democrat convention, but he laid out a plan which was just like what he said 4 years ago. Another stimulus, bigger government. Instead of holding income taxes at the same level they've been, he's this time going to raise income taxes. That's a big change, I must admit, that he's going to add to his repertoire. I don't think that's going to add more jobs in this country. He also has another idea, which is instead of having consumers and markets choose the winners and losers among the various enterprises that are here, he likes to have government do that. Do you know he put $90 billion in the stimulus, went into businesses that he thinks have the greatest prospects, like Solyndra and Fisker and Tesla and Enterone. He likes to pick winners and losers, or as a friend said to me, no, he picks losers. There's one more element. It's not just more stimulus and more government and increasing income taxes. There's something else he wants to do that's the same as he's done in the past, and that is trillion-dollar deficits. That clock up there shows our national debt. When I began this campaign, it said it was 15 trillion. I mean, what is a trillion? It's 1,000 billions. It's an unthinkable amount. And he's added, when he came into office, there were just over $10 trillion in debt. Now there's over $16 trillion in debt. If he were reelected, I can assure you it'll be almost $20 trillion in debt. And by the way, those debts get passed on to our kids. It's not just bad for the economy. It's not just bad for our job creation. It will, in my opinion, it is immoral for us to pass on obligations like that. Do you know what the interest bill is on that debt? Yeah, the interest rate, the interest that you're paying on that debt every year is more than we pay for housing, for agriculture, for education, and transportation combined. That's how much the interest is. And by the way, the interest rate is real low right now, artificially low. And the reason that is because every time the government goes out to borrow money, instead of having to go out to the marketplace and have people bid the interest rates up, they just give the debt to the Federal Reserve that takes it and puts it in their pocket, basically printing more money. So interest rates are real low. What's going to happen when those interest rates go up? That bill's going to get bigger and bigger. It is crushing. That's the course this president has put us on. We're on the road to Europe. We're on the road to Greece. I will get us off that road and reinvigorate our... things I'm going to do that are dramatically different than the path of status quo represented by this president. And in fact, they're very different than anything that's been done before, because we face an economy that's different than the economy of the past. China is now the largest manufacturer in the world. Wasn't the case 10, 20 years ago. The world has changed. Here are the things I'm going to do. Number one, I'm going to take advantage of our energy resources and get us energy independence. Number two, I'm going to get trade to work for us. We're going to open up more trade where we can compete fairly, but we're going to crack down on China when they cheat. They've stolen our jobs. Sure we have the kind of training programs to give people the skills they need for the jobs of today, and I'm going to make sure in our schools we get our kids the education they need. Our schools are performing in the bottom third in the world. I'm going to put our kids and the teachers and the parents first and the teachers union behind. With that kind of debt and that kind of interest payment that we're making, we're going to slowly but surely crush the ability of our economy to grow and create jobs. And so I'm going to do something Washington has talked about for years but not done. I'm going to cut federal spending, I'm going to cap it, and get us on track to a balanced budget. Number five, I'm going to champion small business where jobs come. Let me tell you how to do that. One, as Senator Portman said, we've got to reform our tax system. Look, small businesses typically pay tax at the individual tax rate. And so our individual income taxes are ones I want to reform, make them simpler. I want to bring the rates down. By the way, don't be expecting a huge cut in taxes, because I'm also going to lower deductions and exemptions. But by bringing rates down, we'll be able to let small businesses keep more of their money so they can hire more people. My priority is jobs, and I'll make it happen. Those five things, and this economy is going to come roaring back. If we don't do those five things, you're going to see 4 more years like the last 4 years, and I don't want that to happen. I've been across this country. My heart aches for the people I've seen. I was yesterday with a woman who was emotional, and she said, "Look, I've been out of work since May." She was in her 50s. She said, "I don't see any prospects. Can you help me?" And I say, "I'm going to do my very best to help you and millions of others like you." 23 million others like her. There are so many in our country that are hurting right now. I want to help them. I know what it takes to get an economy going again and creating jobs. I know there are a lot of folks that have jobs that wonder how they can make ends meet till the end of the month, how they can put food on the table for their family. Because there's a guy right there with that very question. It's look, with incomes going down, every year going down, and prices of electricity up, and health insurance up, and the cost of, well, gasoline having doubled. These are tough times, even for families with jobs. I know what it takes to get this economy going again. I care about the people of America, and the difference between me and President Obama is I know what to do, and I will do what it takes to get this economy going. Something else, and that is, I talked about the economy and how we help people that are in trouble and how we can bring families back so they can have confidence in the future and make sure they know the ends can meet. They're tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I want to change that. But there's also another difference between myself and the president, and that is, perhaps we stand back and look at the role of government. My view is the role of government is to encourage freedom, economic freedom, personal freedom. Our economy runs on freedom. Small and people to have more freedom. I realize realize, as Jack Nicklaus just said, that you did build that. You build your lives, you build your enterprises, you help build the enterprises of the Green. Good job. I understand that. I'm government for people. And this president has a very different view. He has a very different view. Not only does he think that government should choose winners and losers, as I mentioned before, he also thinks that government can do a better job than you in the way you live your life. And Obamacare is point number one. It's the example of one where he wants to put bureaucrats between you and your doctor. He believes that the government should tell you what kind of insurance you have to have. He believes the government should have a board of people that tell you what kind of care you can receive. My view is we fight for freedom in this country. I do not want an intrusive, massive, larger, debt-spending government that crushes the American dream. This really matters. The choice we make is going to determine what kind of take-home pay people in America have. It's going to determine what kind of jobs we have. It's also going to determine whether our kids are confident, and you're confident in your kids and in their future. From the very beginning, America has always been defined by our belief that the future is brighter than the past. The majority of Americans don't believe that today. And if we stay on the road we're on, they will be right. It's unacceptable for America to continue this decline and have us as tired as we are of being tired. I know what it takes to restore the greatness of America, to restore the promise for our kids and for our families today that are struggling. I also know what it takes to keep America strong around the world. I was in Poland a few weeks ago. Got the chance to meet with Nicklaus, a hero. And as I came into the room, he said, "You've come from America. You must be tired. You sit. I'll talk. You listen." I did. I sat down, and he began to speak, and he said this again and again. Where's American leadership? We need American leadership. And then he talked about a region of the world and say, we need American leadership. Where is American leadership? I can commit to you this, with every ounce of my energy, when I'm President of the United States, when I am President of the United States, in our homes. I'll strengthen our economy to make sure that this economy can ignite our capacity to put people to work and to provide the resources we need to have the strongest military in the world. I will not